Hello everyone. Thank you for following my channel. Welcome to the next episode. One morning, light sneaked through the window and shone into the room. Tu Diepp was still lying on the bed, unmoving. James was beside her, holding her hand, his heart filled with fear. He whispered, "You have to wake up, don't make me worry so much. I don't know what to do without you by my side." But Diep remained motionless. Feeling like he had to do something, James decided he couldn't sit still any longer. James' father, Mr. Vanxio, entered the room and saw his son and Diep. He looked at Diep with a regretful gaze, feeling deeply guilty. He sat down next to the bed and decided to call the doctor. "Hello doctor, I am Vanxianha. I need a good doctor to come examine Diep immediately." After providing the necessary information, the doctor promised to come by 3 p.m. James returned to the living room, where Mr. Vanxio was waiting. He had already made a bowl of instant noodles with eggs for him. "You can eat breakfast and then go to work," Mr. Vanxio said, but James just shook his head. "I won't go to work today. I have to stay home to take care of Diep," James replied, his voice full of worry. Mr. Vanxio looked at his son, feeling a little confused. "Let me take care of Diep. You go to work. I've already called the doctor." James quietly thought to himself, feeling extremely anxious. He couldn't bring himself to go to work while Diep was still lying there, unmoving. "Diep, wake up," James thought to himself, but he decided to stay and take care of her. James' phone suddenly rang. It was Tuan from the wood factory. "James, the police are here to investigate the wood incident with John. Can you come right away?" James felt like he couldn't delay anymore. The matter needed to be resolved immediately. "All right, I'll be there soon," James replied, then turned to his father. "Dad, the police are investigating the wood we imported from John. Since he was arrested, we've been affected. I need to go there right away." His father looked at him and said, "Go ahead, son. I'll take care of Diep. Don't worry." Before leaving the house, James walked into Diep's room for one last time. He sat by her bed, looked at her and whispered, "I just want to stay by your side forever, but work is forcing me to leave. Don't worry, the doctor will come, and I'll be back soon." James returned to the living room and gave his father one last reminder. "Dad, take care of Diep. I'll leave now." Mr. Vanxio, with a worried and remorseful look in his eyes, walked into Diep's room. He looked at her and softly said, "Diep, I'm sorry I didn't let you go with me. I just wanted to protect you, but I didn't expect this to happen. You're such a good person. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't know what to do." He continued, choking up, "I promise when you wake up, I won't stop you from being with James anymore. I hope you get better soon." Though James had to go out for work, he still hoped Diep would wake up and everything would return to normal. He believed that with her love and kindness, everything would eventually be fine. At the wood factory, where the police were busy inspecting, Tuan approached one of the officers and asked, "How are the checks going?" The officer replied, "We've checked the wood and everything matches the documents you provided. However, since it's connected to John, we need to inspect it again." Tuan, James' assistant, thought for a moment and explained, "Previously, we did import wood from John. However, after discovering some issues, we stopped cooperating with him." The officer continued, "So, do you know if John imported this wood illegally?" James looked directly into the officer's eyes and replied solemnly, "I don't know. The company was not under John's name at first. We only found out later about some serious issues, which is why we decided to stop cooperating." The officer took notes and continued, "How much wood did your company import from John's company?" Tuan quickly answered, "We imported a total of 100 tons of wood from that company." The officer asked again, "When your company imported wood from John, did you ensure that all legal documents were in order?" "Yes, all the legal documents were complete," James replied. The officer asked another question. "So, how was the quality of the wood? Was it fine?" James sighed, recalling the events that had happened. He said, "At first the quality was very good. However, later on we discovered that many of the pieces of wood contained nails. Those nails caused a lot of damage to our machinery." The officer took more notes and then asked, "So after discovering the problem, how did you handle it?" "After finding out, we destroyed all the remaining wood and completely stopped cooperating with John." There are no more shipments from that company, James said in a serious tone. A moment later, the officer looked at Tuan with a sympathetic expression. We're just doing our job. If we need more information, we'll contact you again, the officer said before signaling his colleagues to continue their work. When James arrived at his wood factory, he saw the officers busy inspecting the situation. Sensing the tense atmosphere, he approached and greeted, "Hello, officers." One of the officers turned to James and replied, "Hello, James. We're here to check more information related to John. So we need to check the situation here." James nodded, his expression serious. He understood that the situation wouldn't be easy, but he was determined to fully cooperate with the authorities. "So, have you gathered all the necessary information?" James asked. The officer replied, "Your assistant has provided us with all the necessary information. However, we just want to confirm your relationship with John." James took a deep breath, then answered calmly, "We only cooperated in the wood sector. In fact, a company worked with us for 8 years. However, recently the company changed leadership, and the new leader is John." The officer jotted down some notes and continued, "So you're the owner of this company, right?" James looked the officer directly in the eye and confirmed, "Yes, that's correct." The officer flipped through his notebook and asked again, "Do you think this information is enough?" James nodded confidently, "Yes, I think it's enough." The officer stood up, preparing to leave. "Then we'll be leaving now. Thank you for your cooperation. If we need anything else, we'll contact you later." James smiled and thanked them. "Thank you, officers." James then returned to the wood factory and met Tuan, the manager. He began talking about the situation. "Tuan, what did they investigate?" James asked, his tone serious but with a hint of concern. Tuan quickly responded, "Yes, boss, they checked the wood, and they also asked a lot about John's company. They wanted to know about the amount of wood we previously imported from them." James nodded attentively. "Did we report all the details about that wood?" Tuan continued, "I reported some issues with the amount of wood. The rest of the wood we destroyed it, so there's nothing left to worry about." James thought for a moment and continued, "All right, but if the police need more information in the future, just provide them with everything. We haven't done anything wrong, so there's nothing to fear." James emphasized the issue with John's company. "As for John's company, we've stopped cooperating with them long ago. You should find another wood supplier, but be sure to thoroughly check them before committing." Tuan nodded, clearly understanding the situation. James continued, "Also, we can have the workers take a 3-day break so that the police can conduct their investigation smoothly. After 3 days, we'll get back to work. I'm afraid if the police keep coming while the workers are still working, it'll make them worried and confused." Tuan realized James' intentions and agreed, "Yes, boss. I'll arrange for the workers to take a 3-day break. We don't want to make them worry any further. Thank you for the timely direction." James gave Tuan a reassuring pat on the back, feeling more at ease. "Just arrange it like that. Everything will be fine. We haven't done anything wrong, so don't worry too much." Tuan thanked James and went back to work. Meanwhile, James once again looked toward the wood factory, thinking about all the complications that were unfolding. He knew that things would take time to resolve, but he believed that everything would be okay in the end. Early afternoon, Mr. Vangcio was at home, anxious. "Why is the doctor taking so long? They said they'd come at 3 p.m., but it's already late," he murmured, feeling worried. Unable to sit still, he quickly grabbed the phone and dialed. "Hello, where are the doctors? Please hurry up." After waiting for a while, Mr. Vangcio heard a car stop outside. "Hello, Mr. Vangcio." A voice from outside called. "Please help the doctors out of the car," Mr. Vangcio said, relieved to see the doctors arriving. "Hello, doctor, please come inside." The doctors and their assistant entered, and Mr. Vangcio guided them to the living room. "Please, both of you have a seat," he said, gesturing to the chairs. "It must have been tiring for you to come all this way. Are you all right?" The doctor smiled lightly. "It's fine, thank you for your concern, Mr. Vangcio." Mr. Vangcio offered the doctor some water and said, "How is the patient?" "She was hit with a stick on the back of the neck and has been unconscious for a day, still hasn't woken up." The doctor nodded and asked, Where is the patient now? Mr. Vanxio pointed to the room where Diep was. She's in that room. This is just a small token of my appreciation. I hope you can help her, Mr. Vanxio said, handing over an envelope. We can't accept this money. It's our responsibility. The doctor gently declined, but Mr. Vanxio insisted. Please take it, it's my sincere gift. The doctor took a sip of water and said, All right, we'll do our best. Don't worry, we always give our best. Mr. Vanxio thanked the doctor and led him to Diep's room for the examination. After checking Diep thoroughly, the doctor stepped out and spoke to Mr. Vanxio. She's experiencing some psychological issues. That's why she hasn't woken up yet. Mr. Vanxio asked anxiously. Has she been having psychological issues recently? Yes, as the doctor said, she's dealing with some psychological stress, which is why this is happening, Mr. Vanxio answered in a somber voice. As for the injury, it's just a sprain on the back of her neck, nothing serious, the doctor continued. I've checked all her vitals, everything is stable and normal, the doctor added. The doctor sat down and asked further. Could you share more specific information to help me understand her situation better? Mr. Vanxio hesitated but replied. This is something I'm not comfortable sharing. Then we won't disturb the family any longer, the doctor said gently. The doctor continued sharing. During the examination, we found the following issues. First, the injury on the back of her neck is just a sprain, no impact on bones or health. Second, she has been unconscious for several days due to physical exhaustion and psychological shock. As for waking up, it should be soon, so the family doesn't need to worry. The doctor added, the family can prepare protein solutions and milk, so if she doesn't wake up, they can administer it to her to help her regain strength. Mr. Vanxio felt a bit relieved and thanked the doctor. Thank you, doctor. We always work hard 24/7. If you need anything, just let us know. The doctor stood up, preparing to leave. Thank you, I'll take my leave now. Mr. Vanxio sat down after the doctor left, thinking about Diep's condition. I'm glad Diep is all right, he thought quietly to himself, relieved that the situation wasn't too serious. Meanwhile, Tuan, having just finished work, stopped by a cafe to grab a smoothie. His phone rang. He looked at the screen, it was an unknown number. Tuan answered the phone. Hello, do you know about Diep's case? The Diep who lives alone, right? I heard she protected Mr. James' father with a stick the other day, and I think they were involved in illegal wood trade. After James found out, that's when all this happened. Poor Diep, saving the chairman. Such a pity. Just because she loves his son, now she's in this situation. I wonder who's taking care of Diep now. Pay me so I can leave, I think she's still unconscious. Tuan, feeling worried, put down his smoothie, grabbed a gift bag and rushed to James' house. When he arrived, he knocked on the door. Who's there? Mr. Vanxio asked from inside. It's me, greetings, uncle, Tuan said. Mr. Vanxio smiled, stood up, and invited Tuan into the living room. Please sit here. Please have some water. Tuan sat down, still holding the gift bag, and said to Mr. Vanxio, I heard Diep was injured and resting here, so I came to visit. Yes, she's here, lightly injured and still unconscious, Mr. Vanxio replied. Tuan handed over the gift bag to Mr. Vanxio and said, Can I please visit Diep? All right, you also brought a gift for me. Mr. Vanxio smiled. Thank you, Tuan. Tuan entered the room where Diep lay motionless on the bed. He stood there for a while, then looked at her and said, his voice choked with emotion, Why do you have to suffer like this, Diep? Why didn't you listen to me? Why did you pursue all these impossible things? You're such a fool. If you had listened to me before, none of this would have happened. I care about you so much, your fate is so sad. You're such a pitiful girl. A while later, James returned home. As he entered, Mr. Vanxio asked, How's the factory going, son? Did someone come by? Yes, your friend Tuan came to visit Diep, Mr. Vanxio replied. James sat down next to his father. A few police came today to investigate the wood at the factory. They were just checking a few wood-related documents. We've imported wood from Kajan before, and now with the case involving him, they came to check with us. Everything seems fine. We might have to close the factory for about 3 days to let them finish their investigation. If the workers are still working and the police keep coming, It could make the workers anxious and confused. They might think we're doing something wrong. James looked at Mr. Vangcio, then asked about Diep. How is Diep? Diep is still unconscious. The 2 doctors from Hong Kong Hospital just came and checked on her. They said she's fine, don't worry. She's an innocent girl thinking simply, but life isn't that simple. I hope she wakes up soon. James asked seriously. Why does she have a bruise on her neck? Did the doctor check it thoroughly? Yes, they checked thoroughly, it's fine, Mr. Vangcio replied gently. James asked again. What did the doctor conclude about why she's unconscious? She's facing psychological issues, doesn't want to wake up, and is physically exhausted, Mr. Vangcio explained. The doctor said don't worry, she'll wake up soon. Okay. James decided to get some water and a nutrient solution for Diep to provide nourishment via 4. Tung is here, right? Let me go in and check. James entered Diep's room, saw Tung and asked, Tung, how is Diep? She's stable, Tuan replied. Sit here, I need to talk to you. James looked at Tung seriously. Do you have something to say? I've told you many times, if you can't bring happiness to her, stop making her suffer. Why does she have a wound on her neck? And why is she in such a deep coma? Explain. Tung lowered his voice, worried. I'm sorry, it's my fault. I've apologized so many times, but this time it's my fault. This isn't my son's fault, it's my fault, Mr. Vangcio said, full of regret. Tung turned to Mr. Vangcio, anger in his voice. This is your fault, not James. But you are someone of high status in society. Why did you oppress a poor, voiceless girl like this? I'm sorry to say this, but it's the truth. If I've said something wrong, I hope you can forgive me. James looked at Tung seriously. If something happens to Diep, I will never forgive you, James. I'll take my leave now. Mr. Vangcio watched Tung leave, his eyes full of regret and concern. I'm sorry for what I did, son. This is all my fault. I deserve those words. Suddenly, Diep's voice broke the silence, causing everyone to freeze. James, run, the robbers are coming. She's awake. Diep opened her eyes and saw James beside her. I'm awake. I'm fine, that's the most important thing. Are you okay? I'm fine. I'm always here, don't worry. I'm right here in your arms.
Thường gắn liền với các dân tộc thiểu số, mỗi dân tộc có những phong tục tập quán riêng biệt. Dưới đây là một số phong tục tập quán phổ biến ở vùng núi. Lễ hội truyền thống, các dân tộc thiểu số ở vùng núi thường tổ chức nhiều lễ hội truyền thống như lễ hội Chon Cham Tray của người Khmer, lễ hội Gầu Tàu của người Mông, lễ hội Lồng Tồng của người Tày. Tập quán cưới hỏi, phong tục cưới hỏi ở vùng núi thường rất đặc sắc, như việc tổ chức lễ cưới tập thể, lễ cưới truyền thống với nhiều nghi thức phức tạp. Tập quán tang lễ, phong tục tang lễ ở vùng núi thường rất đặc biệt, như việc tổ chức lễ tang truyền thống với nhiều nghi thức phức tạp, việc sử dụng các loại nhạc cụ truyền thống trong tang lễ. Sản xuất nông nghiệp, người dân vùng núi thường sống dựa vào sản xuất nông nghiệp như trồng lúa, trồng ngô, trồng sắn. Tập quán mặc trang phục của người dân vùng núi thường mặc các trang phục truyền thống